Welcome to the Gifted Woman podcast with your host, Jay Menz. This is the place where you can come into full alignment with who you are without a mask. This is the place to discover what your unique gifts are. So let's go. Okay, welcome, Miss Lisa Garrett, to the podcast today. I have to tell you a little bit about her before we really dive into what she's going to teach us today. So, after 20 years of suffering with hypothyroidism, anemia, and enlarged heart, dry and brittle skin and hair, she was diagnosed with celiac. So, removing gluten has really helped, but still left her symptomatic. And it wasn't until she healed and sealed her gut that all her symptoms reversed. Now she's a gut and psychology practitioner and helps other people heal their gut so they can live the life they want. Because she says that if you heal your gut, you change your life, which is so freaking true. So I want to welcome you to the Woman Podcast. And I want to know, what was the first thing that after removing gluten, you were like, wait a second, this, like, life gets to get better after 20 years of suffering from all these different things, like just, and also I would love to hear about the mentality on what was required to keep you moving forward, because 20 years of suffering is a really long time to suffer. And like, what were the things you were doing mentally to make sure that you could remain resilient on this path towards healing your gut? Like, it makes so much sense why you're doing what you're doing.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to thank you so much for having me on your podcast. What an honor. And I love your mission. I love your work. And I feel like I get to be a part of it right now. So I'm super grateful. Okay, so what was the first question?
The first question was kind of like, I want to know the journey of you removed gluten, you tried all
Right.
these things, but what were like the key, because people listening to this are going to go, God, I've been having chronic illness for this and that. How did you even figure out that it was gluten? And then what were some of the things? Let's start there. How did you figure out it was gluten? Was it, yeah, just tell that.
Okay, that's a great place to start. So I think I was like 40, maybe, yeah, 40, 42, something like that. Anyway, we have an Italian festival in Omaha that my family is very into. I've been working at it forever. So I went to that, and like everybody, you eat pizza, pasta, cannoli, all that stuff, right? Well, that weekend of that festival, I got very violently sick, like couldn't leave my bathroom, felt like I had been hit by a truck. And I was like, oh, I think it's food poisoning. I mean, it has to be. Like, what else would it be? And then I started thinking, gosh, then thousands of other people must be sick too. Well, it wasn't that. I went to the doctor. It took me about 3 weeks to get to the doctor on that, which is so weird that we have those things happen and we choose to ignore them because we don't want to believe something's wrong, or we just get up and keep going. That's what we do. And so I got up and kept going in my life. And then it took a very good friend of mine, my best friend, who said, you know, Lisa, you look like shit. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, you have black circles, you're very thin, your lips look really dry. And I was like, oh my gosh, if she's telling me that, that has to be true. I went to the doctor. 2 days later, I was, doing a scope, and they diagnosed me with celiac. And I was like, well, this is simple. It's just taking gluten out. This is so simple. So I did. And, the first week after being diagnosed, I was like, this is great. I know what's going on. I'm going to get better. And I was just eating gluten-free and reading all the labels. And there weren't a whole lot of gluten-free products available that were good, and they were really expensive. And I married, and at the time my husband was traveling quite a bit, 4 young boys. So I just ate meat, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. I didn't buy gluten-free pretzels because they were like $6 a bag, and we were on a really tight budget, and yada, yada. So
Yeah.
then one day I ate an apple, and I got the raging stomach ache all over again and ended up in the bathroom. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me. This is gluten-free. And I'm looking up, Google wasn't totally a big thing. And I was like, I was calling the dietitian at the grocery store, our apples gluten-free? She's like, yeah. I'm like, why am I sick? And then I noticed same stomach ache with nuts, same stomach ache with meat. Everything I ate, I was like, what is going on? No, no, no. And it was such a mind flip and a
Yeah.
defeat.
Hmm.
And so I knew I had to do something from there because I was like, there's something else going on. There's something else. So,
That makes me just so sad
mm,
because you are doing all the right things and you are being so meticulous about what you're eating. And it becomes this all-consuming thing of like your thoughts. Because if you can't eat that, then you can't eat that, and you can't absorb the nutrients in that. And you're going, why am I now having issues with apples? Like, so then where did that lead you into now going, I can't eat this, so what the hell am I supposed to do? What was the next step?
right. So, I kept eating those things because it was inconsistent. Sometimes it would bother me, sometimes it wouldn't. And I never knew what was going to trip off my stomach. And so I continued for several more years like that because that's what they told me. Like I kept calling the doctor, like, no, that's it. That's it. Just be really careful with. I'm like, dude, I'm not eating hardly, and I was still really underweight and I was working out quite a bit. I was running marathons at the time. And when you asked me what my mode of operation was, fitness for me was always my love. And I felt like it was the one thing I could control was my running schedule, my pace, and I felt alive when I ran. And it was mentally, it was good for me. Physically, I was just a car without any gas. I had zero nutrients. It was awful. But it made me feel okay. Like, if that's it.
Yeah,
And
like that was
so,
your
yes,
mental running got you through mentally, but like
yes,
no matter what you were doing physically, you were derailing.
right. I was
Yeah.
dwindling. And so it wasn't until about 2016, 2017, I kept researching and researching, and naturopaths were really popping up. And I was like, I found a naturopath, started talking to him, but then I found this doctor from England. And what I learned from her changed my life. I went out to Chicago for 5 days. I studied under her program and I learned how to heal and seal the gut. And that is when all the stuff went away like
Oh
poof,
my God.
like poof. And now I'm 58 years old, still have celiac, but I can eat my mom's homemade pizza with no problems. I can make sourdough bread and eat it without a problem. I don't eat it every day, but if I want to, I eat it with grace and it all works out. And those stomach aches are like a thing of the past.
What the hell happened at that 5 day training?
I was mind blown. I was like, are you kidding me? It's this simple with food. And she walked us through the physiology of gut healing, how the gut produces new cells in 2 days, all of the physiology. And I am an exercise physiology nut. That's what my undergrad is in. So I was yumming that up. And I was like, okay, this makes sense. So I went home and I put myself through 3 months of this, 3 months. And I followed this regimen, what I learned to a T, and I couldn't believe my hair was coming back. Like I wasn't, you put your hair in a ponytail and you get like stray. I was pulling clumps. That wasn't happening. My sleep was better. Um, my thyroid was on its way out. It started to turn the corner. It took a little bit longer for the anemia to reverse. And my enlarged heart, that started to reverse. I know exactly why that happens because when you're not breaking down and absorbing nutrients properly and you're in this leaky gut state, you have goopy blood. And goopy blood plows through or circulates through the heart valves and it can literally push on the left ventricle like a water balloon and make it sag. That's exactly what happened.
I'm getting
And
full body goosebumps.
yes. And then you have, and to think that I was running marathons with my heart like that, I could have dropped dead at any moment. Um, I didn't because I'm here. So then as I healed my leaky gut and I started breaking down nutrients better. I felt better. My skin, hair, the bags under my eyes went away. Sleep was a big one. And side note, I used to chew ice like crazy because it was this nervous reaction, and it was an imbalance to the autonomic nervous system, which I learned later. That all went away. And so when I went back to the cardiologist, they were like, yeah, your heart's normal. I was like, well, hot dog, let's go.
How long did it take from that 5 day to get to where things started working again?
It I did my program for 3 months, and I think within that year, I went back to the doctor. I have different doctors, so I'd seen them all because I was feeling so good. I wanted to know. I was running to the doctor, like, test me now. Let's go, let's go. And now I'd love to be retested for celiac because I feel like it's almost healed. Like I
Oh
do.
my God.
I do. I just feel like I've done so much work over the years that I have been so adamant about it, and not like crazy about it, but
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
really nurturing my body. And I quit running and I started sleeping in more. And my kids, when they talk about me, when they were young, they're like, you were just so stressed and so quick to get mad. I'm like, dude, like I wasn't feeling good. Like, I mean, I just wasn't right, and I'm a totally
Yes.
different person now because of it.
Oh, that's like every mom listening right now is going, maybe my gut is the reason why I can't handle stress as well as, yes. Yeah. So, and I'm thinking about all the people I'm surrounded with who have major gut issues, who are really healthy, who work out all the time. But, I'm thinking about my husband's a first responder. And so he's a firefighter, and I'm just thinking, oh my God, like the stress that they go through, if they learned how to seal their gut, they could probably assimilate the nutrients that they do feed themselves. Because how frustrating is it for people to eat healthy, exercise, do all the right things, and still end up at the doctor going, nothing is working?
That's what it is. That's a gut
Yeah.
thing because there's an absorption piece. And the funny thing about the gut, which I learned, and in years working with multiple ages of clients, is that it doesn't always have to give you a stomach ache. It can give
Yeah.
you a
What else?
migraine. Yeah, a migraine, joint pain, eczema, asthma, um, any kind of like acne.
Psoriasis. Yeah.
Yeah, psoriasis, all this stuff, plantar fasciitis, like all these other things. The body is definitely trying to get your attention when
Yes.
you are doing all the things and it's not working. Your body is saying, you didn't figure it out. That's what your body is saying. You didn't figure it out. You're missing a nutrient
Hmm.
somewhere, or it's an absorption issue because I have people who have no idea that dairy bothers them and they take it out of their diet for a week and their plantar fasciitis goes away.
That is, yeah. And I'm thinking about all these people I know who have gout and who, and what about for, oh my gosh, I bet this is one of the most giant ones is women who have had C-sections.
I had four.
Yeah, I had one. And I'm thinking, like, you are a different person after a C-section.
Mhm.
You're just, think about all those things. And then the fupa comes and you're like, what the hell is this? Does bloating, because and I think this is going to be helpful, is like what I've read is when you're changing cycles throughout the month, like there's periods where you do bloat and that's like
Mhm.
part of the cycle, or is bloating not part of the cycle but accepted? And, because like, isn't there truth to like when your stomach does distend during cycles and then it goes back in, like, is that okay? Or should it not be bloating because your gut is healed and sealed?
That's a great question. So one thing is when you're inflamed, if you have bloat when you're not cycling,
Hmm.
you're going to have, you're not going to have much bloat. But if bloat is an everyday thing for you, when you have your cycle, you're going to bloat big time because
Oh
a
yeah.
cycle is a major event in a woman's body. And that's what menopause is. Perimenopause and menopause is like an extended frickin' period. So if you don't have your ducks in a row before you hit perimenopause and menopause with your food, those seasons in your life will hit like a grenade, which is why people are so, kind of bananas during that time, because they're like, what's going on? I can't lose weight. I don't have any energy. I'm crabby, blah, blah, blah. It's because you didn't figure it out, because no one told you, and it's not even your fault. Like, no one has said, clean up your diet before you get there. No one has said that to you.
That is, oh my God, that is huge because no one has said that. No one has said anything. And, I know that we're so underfunded in women's health. Oh, it just drives me insane because when I start talking to women that are in their 50s or 60s, and I'm like, did you have a frozen shoulder? Like you just woke up and your shoulder, and they're like perimenopause. And I'm like, did you have where you had like raging anger and then you were like fine or you cried over? And they're like perimenopause. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why don't we know any of this? And I feel like it has so much to do with the gut, which is our second brain. And then if the stomach is all leaky, the brain's all leaky, and then there's anxiety. And it's like, for God's sake, how do we get on the trajectory where we prevent this from happening instead of just like you're slammed with it and you're entering your 40s and you're like, what the hell is going on? And people are like, oh yeah, I had that, had that, had that. But to you, it's a whole new world. So how do we get your name out there so people can come to you before they enter this? And I call it the initiation. It's like the advanced initiation of adolescence.
Mm.
Like it's like we're entering a whole new thing. And I think majority of our audience is 30s to late 50s to 60s. So and people are entering perimenopause in their 30s, and they're, and it's happening earlier and earlier because of all the things with our food and just, the world and the fear and all that. And so what would you say the first step, and like, so say someone's working with you,
Mhm.
we have that, but then also what's the first step to like figuring out how to get that strong gut that does assimilate the nutrients that these well-intentioned humans are putting in their body? Like, what do they do? Where do they begin?
So there's two things. So definitely get with me. I have a
Yes.
group program and a VIP program. So there's two ways.
I want to hear about both of those. So like,
Okay.
because people are going to ask, and I know we're going to put stuff, but what are the like, tell me who goes into the group, who goes into VIP, and does VIP mean private coaching?
Yes, VIP
Okay.
is private coaching. So
Yeah.
one of the things in general that I will tell people is, instead of, well, it's kind of, they're both just as important. One, if there is a food that you absolutely know does not agree with you, because people say, well, I can have yogurt every now and then. No, you can't. You either can have it or you can't, because the protein's in it all the time. Whether you have a spoonful or a bowl, your body recognizes that protein and has developed antibodies to attack it. So whether it's a spoonful or a bowl, if you know yogurt doesn't agree with you, take dairy out of your diet. Just take it out. That's number one. Next to that would be nourish your gut, like start doing it now. And you do that by, instead of creating more stress, like add some fermented foods, add some bone broth to your diet. Buy really good food. Don't settle for the junk that's there. And if you're buying something with the label, okay, read the back of it. Make
Oh
sure
yeah.
you know what's in that, because the front of it is going to be all gimmick to suck you in. Like the soda poppy, okay? It
Oh,
says it's a prebiotic. It is not a prebiotic. It
no,
has vinegar in it, but it is not a prebiotic. That's a
no,
gimmick.
it's a marketing scheme.
It is. So
Yeah.
it's drawn people in, and I think there's a lot of kickback for going on with that anyway. But think of how you can nourish. There's a lot of information out there on how to nourish your gut with fermented foods, with probiotic foods, and everybody's taking all the probiotic supplements. But I have to tell you, if you can't break down and absorb food, you can't break down and absorb supplements.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah,
Food
because
first.
it's like, what's it encased in?
Yeah.
And that's like, okay, so you're saying first step is to see like, oh, I can have that sometimes, I can't have that sometimes. Just eliminate it and see how you feel. Second step is to really check out what you're eating, look at the label, and don't be fooled by the colors.
Correct.
Then, so say those are like just the first two steps someone can take. So say someone's like, well, I've done all that. So then they come into you. So how does the group program differ than the VIP?
That's a great question. So the group program is all the modules are laid out for 12 weeks. You get a video, a meal plan, and there's private coaching inside a Facebook group with me and my co-coach. I do the physiology side of it, and she does more of the mental side of it.
And physiology, like what does that mean?
So I'm going to explain, why we're taking this food out. This is
Oh,
when you get new gut cells. We're going to talk a lot about the Bristol stool chart, which is huge.
nice. Mhm.
We have to be able to talk about our stool. That's just part of digestion and
Yes.
detoxification. We're going to talk about liver support. We're going to talk about oxalate. So we're going to talk about, I'm going to handle all that. She's going to handle kind of the gut brain axis on, and as you heal, you start to produce more serotonin. So you're happier. As you heal, you start to produce more dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter that affects your mood and your motivation. So when people are saying, I really should get out and exercise, I just don't feel like it. I honestly believe them. I
Yes.
believe them. They don't,
Yes.
they're not making enough dopamine to go out for a walk. And you
Mm.
can't just say diet and exercise. If it was that easy, everybody would be doing it.
For real. And then, so someone who is kind of leaning into more community support and they're trying to understand what is really happening in their body, and you're breaking it down, and then you have your co-coach, they're coming into this. So who's coming into the VIP? Like, how are they? Yeah.
Okay, so the group program is for the person who is comfortable in the group arena. Like they don't mind coming into a Facebook group.
Yeah.
They're pretty self-disciplined to do some
Yes.
of these things. The person who needs the VIP is someone who is, I hate to say it, but maybe more sick, or they
Yeah.
have autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of support from their family and friends, so they need someone in their corner on a weekly basis. The
Yes.
number one reason people do VIP, they want the
Yeah.
accountability. They want to
Yes.
be able to reach out to someone who has walked where they are. They want that.
Yeah, and I would say if you have ADD or ADHD, you typically go for private mentorship because there are so many things coming at you all the time. And you're just like, do I focus on that? Do I focus on that? And you're kind of like that soft spot to land to guide someone through the journey from point A to point Z. And so they can check in one on one and be like, am I doing this right? Is
Yep.
this what I'm supposed to be doing? What about that? And so that's amazing. That's an amazing level of high touch support for someone who doesn't really have the capacity. And yeah, I get what you're saying about someone being more sick to go into that, because that makes sense. Like they're not looking for all of the other stuff. They're looking for just the straight and focused one-on-one attention. That is incredible, and an incredible value to have with you, who obviously has walked the walk and knows the feelings of what come from being chronically ill for a long time. And I just want people to know that your mission is basically like what I'm hearing and feeling and sensing is like you're saying it is possible. If it's possible for me, it's possible for you to heal. It all starts with the gut. You can do it. And there's like no outlier. Like you can't do it. You can do it too. Here's the exact steps to get there, whether it's with a group program or whether it's in your VIP enrollment. Like this is massive. Everybody needs to know about this. Everybody needs to hear, because there's so many people who are doing the same thing, expecting a different result, just because they don't know about you or the protocols, or they're not realizing that just because they don't get stomach aches, that it's their gut that's really preventing them from healing. So I'm so honored to get the word out and for people to learn about you and to know like it's possible for you to heal because people suffering need to know that it is possible for you to heal. So with that said, is there like anything you want to speak from your heart to someone who has been struggling and just like it's their last ditch effort? They've done all the things. What do you want to say from your heart to their heart to let them know that healing is possible and you get to not just heal, but you get to thrive. Like you get to just, like you said, I love what you were talking about, the cell receptors, like how you literally get happier when your gut is happier. Is there just any lasting words you want to leave them with to really embed into their subconscious so they know that healing is possible for them too?
I would say two things. One, you heal your gut, you change your life. It's it's just it's that simple because it is a scientific healing that takes place with normal foods. Like it's not weird food. And second to that is there's hope. And doctors aren't talking about it because they can't write a script for it. And I'm a lot cheaper than an endoscopy. And the thing is that it's not their scope of practice to talk about nutrition. That's my scope of practice. And so I have doctors that call me. I have physicians assistants that are my clients that are like, girl, nobody's talking about this. And they're seeing me. And I'm working with a cardiologist right now. And she's like, I had no idea food affected me on this level. A cardiologist, a brilliant woman, didn't know didn't know. And that is so telling. So by the time people get to me, they feel hopeless and defeated. But I am here to tell you, I am walking proof. My husband traveled. We didn't have a lot of money, 4 young kids. I was a stay-home mom. I was literally running marathons. And if I ran across my program back then, I would have signed up. I would have taken out 1 million credit cards to make it
Oh
happen
yeah.
because there is only one you, and the world is counting on you. And what's more important is you are counting on you. You know, I would have moved heaven and earth to do it. I would have.
And I just want to say to the mamas who are holding so much,
Yeah. Oh,
and they're holding so much and they're like, not only do I want to be fit, I want to look fit, I want to fit into my clothes. And then it's like when you feel really good in your body, then you are more resilient to stress. But when your gut, and like you're saying, like I've already learned so much, when your gut is messed up, it's not your fault that you are reacting so quick with anger. It's like your gut. So you can just remember that and remind yourself that it's not like my resilience or I don't need to do another guided meditation. What I do need to do is I do need to heal and seal my gut.
yeah. And it takes a little you got to pick up and put the next foot in place to
Yeah.
make a different lunch, to say no to the sodas or the glass of wine at night. You have to put in a little bit of effort, but I'm
Oh
telling
yeah.
you, the smallest changes can bring all about it. And when you said for the mamas who are holding all this and wondering why they react, if you could have seen me with 4 young boys, you would have thought, I always said, well, the mother of the year van was at our house and just saw me lose my shit and now it kept driving. You know, I always tell my kids I did the best I could, and that is the truth. You are really doing the best you can, and nobody is out there telling you take care of your gut and you'll have more serotonin. Take care of your gut and you'll have more dopamine and you'll feel better and you'll be a stronger parent, a happier wife, a happier mom, a happier person, a balanced neighbor. You'll be magnetic. People will be attracted to your balance.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yes, I like all of that for everybody listening. I know that that's like, how could you not want that? Like, that's
Right.
what you want. You want to be naturally magnetic because, like, the doors open for you when you are that because people want to be around you. All of a sudden, like, the friends are calling, like, kids are so happy around you, your husband, you're happy, your dog, like,
Yeah.
everyone, because everything is energy. And so, like, Oh my gosh. I am already like, my mind is a Rolodex of all these people that I'm just going to be like, you need to go. So we're going to put all your information in the notes below, but just say it so people can hear it. Your website is.
My website is lisagarrettnutrition.com, but it is under construction as we speak. I'm just having somebody redo it. But if you just reach out, you can email me directly. I'm happy to respond to you because I know how personal the gut issue is. And not everybody wants to just go through, this general thing. So if you want
Yeah.
to email me with questions, would I be a good fit for this? info@lisagarrettnutrition.com. Just email
Oh,
me and I will help you kind of figure it out because, you know, when you're genuine about your energy, everybody knows it. And we can all fake it till we
oh
make it.
yes.
I
Yes.
faked it for 20 years. I
Oh yeah.
faked my whole life for 20 years.
I get it. Yeah.
When my parents hear that, because they follow me on Facebook, my mom's like, I had no idea. I'm like, yeah, I was a good faker, really good faker.
You're like, I was a great actress, and no one knows unless they're living in your own home.
No, no.
Yeah,
And my husband probably knows it best, but I had a lot of dark days, sad days,
of
defeated days,
course. Of
you know.
course.
And
Yeah.
everybody's usually alone in that. And when the fog lifts and you actually feel like a different person, oh man, you just show up and it's phenomenal.
That is amazing. So everyone go to lisagarrettnutrition.com or send her an email and just either rewind back or look at the show notes because if it's not you, you know someone who could benefit greatly from her services. And this woman is here to make a lasting impact on the gut health. And it's just like we have a lot of doctors also. We have functional doctors. We have homeopaths. We have so many people that I see reaching out to you. You're going to be flooded. Yeah, you're going to be
Love
flooded.
to help people heal their gut because it's so rewarding to see people heal their life, really.
Oh yeah, I can feel it. It's so genuine from you, and people are also going to sense it and feel it too. So thank you, Lisa. This was epic. We could literally talk for like 6,000 years on this because it's so
Thank
vital.
you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, Lisa, I will see you soon.
Thank you. And you take care. And I talked to you about, did you hit stop record?